Right, here we are. We're going to look at some GCSE questions which have not come up yet on the papers from paper 1. Now what I've got here is I've gone through all the past GCSE questions, iGCSE questions that have ever been set so far and arranged them by topic order. And what you'll see is I put an asterisk by this. This is the sheet on OneNote. Grab my OneNote, more of it. See, down here, I've got some sheets which are asterisked. Those are the ones which I think are going to be the most likely to come up. And these other topics, they may come up. There's been a little bit of work on them yet, but it's not been completed in terms of the course. But they're not as likely as the ones with asterisks. So I'm going to concentrate on the ones with asterisks in them. And if we've got time, I'll have a look at the other topics as well. So let's just go back and start it. So we're going to start off with a 3-mark question. Give you, generally, if you're up to speed by now, you should be able to do a 3-marker in 2 minutes. So I'll give you 2 minutes to have a go at that. Right, okay, let's go through that question. I'm sorry about that. I was just trying to get 2 copies of the screen open. Sorry about messing about with the screen just entering the question. Anyway, here we go. We're going to look at, we have Anna and Lionel share $675 dollars in the ratio 4:5. Lionel gives 3/5 of his share of the money to his mother. How much to give to his mother? So we first of all got to work out what his share was. So we got 675, and it's going to be shared in the ratio 4:5, and Lionel's share is going to be that. Essentially, Lionel's going to have 5/9 because it's 9 parts, and he's got 5 parts. So he's going to have 5/9 of the 675, and then he's going to give 3/5 of his share to his mother. So we got 3/5 times the 5/9. It doesn't matter how you do it. There are slower ways to do this. You can get through to it. We can cancel that out. So essentially, we got 1/3 times 6.5. And even if you can't do that, you can calculate to do it. Using your calculator, you can just do over and you get the answer as $200. So that's a nice easy one to start off with. Go down to the next one. So we got this question. This is a question 13. It's a little bit tricky. 4 marks I'll give you 3 minutes to have a go at this one. Hopefully that was plenty of time for you to have a go at that. So we've got each month Edna spends all her income on rent, on travel and other living expenses. 1/3 of income on rent, 1/5 on income on travel, spends $420 on income on other living expenses. Work out her income each month. So you've got her income on rent. So basically we've got, this is the amount on living expenses, which is everything else. Okay. So what we got is we got this and this taken away from one is what fraction she spends on living expenses. So if we add these two together, so first of all, let's do 10. So if we do 1/3 plus 1/5, so put that into 15ths. So we've got 5/15, 3/15 gives us 8/15. That means we have 7/15 on the rest. And the 7/15 is equivalent to the 420. So the way we can find that out is what that is we can divide by 7 and times by 15 to get the amount. So if we do 420 divide by 7 and times by 15, 420 divided by 7 equals 60. So we equal 15. So we can see that 10 lots of 60 is 600, 5 lots of 60 300, so we will get $900 together. So if you know what you're doing, definitely a lot quicker than 3 minutes. That's how much time. Okay, next question, Biggie, 4 minutes. Let's just see if you can. We're getting into the habit of doing these. Let's see if you can 2 minutes. If not, you can always watch it later, have another go at it later, pause the video and take more over it. Okay, so let's have a look at this one. We've got Bernaz makes candles, 6.3 kilograms of wax, uses it all to make candles. Each candle makes uses 210 grams of wax. Sells 2/5 of the candles for $13 each. She then reduces his price by 20% and sells the rest of the candles. Work out the total money gets by selling all the candles she made. So she sells 2/5 of the candles at $13. Well, each candle takes 210 grams of wax. So we first of all need to turn this into grams, so 6,300, and work out how many candles make. So we can see that we cancel that out. 21 goes to 63 3 times, so it's going to be 30 candles. Okay, so she's going to get 30 candles, 2/5. So we do 2/5 times 30 will equal, that's going to be 12. She's going to get $13. So she's got 12 times $13. Reduces the price by 20%. So the price is 13 and we've got to reduce that by 20%. So we're going to times that by 10. So if we times this by 8, we get 80. 3 times 8 is 24. So that's 104. Divided by 10 gives you 50. And we're going to sell the rest at this price of £10.40. Got 12 sold at $13. Okay, and we're going to have therefore 18 times $10.4. And you're probably, most of you are probably going to, most of you calculate and just do that. Shouldn't, and we get 340. Good check, I got the 10.4 right. Answer already. 12 times 18 times 10 gives me my answer of 342 dollars. See, there's sort of a pattern all these questions are all about ratio and percentages. Now, what I'm going to do is to move on for the sake of the video, I'm going to leave the rest out. What you'll notice, if I bring my OneNote on screen so you can see it, you'll see that here I've got one set of sheets and then I've got exactly the same set of sheets. What I've done is here have got written out answers already. I'll make a link to my notebook available to everybody in the notes in the video below. We need to move on. Let's look at some indices work. Okay, so here's our first indices question. I'll give you 3 minutes, not 3 minutes, 2 minutes to have a go at this question. Right, okay, so we're going to turn this into an indices problem, which is what it is. Okay, 10, so we've got 128, 4 to the 2x and 2 to the x. Now what you've got to do is try and work out what these can all be powers of. And you can see 4 is a power of 2, 2 is obviously a power of 2, and 128 is a power of 2. So you choose the smallest number that you can do, which is 2. So these can all be powers of 2. So 128 is effectively 2, if you count through your powers of 2, 2, 4, 8, 16, 32, 64, 128. So I've got 7 fingers in front of me to know that this is 2 to the power of 7. I just did just then. So I went 2, 4, 8, 16, moving my fingers, working out each power. And 4 is just 2 squared. And then we got times 2. Now everything's in powers of 2. So we've got 2 to the 7 equals, now 2 squared to the power of 2x. What you do here, you times these indices together. So you get 2 to the 4x times by 2 to the x. Now when you're timesing, you add the indices. 2 to the 7 equals 2 to the 5x. So therefore, what we have here is you have 2 to the something equals 2 to the something. Those somethings must be equal to each other. 7 must equal 5x. So therefore, x will equal 7 fifths. Okay, next one. I'm just going to give you a minute to have a go at this. Actually, in fact, I'm going to give you 30 seconds. You either do this or you can't. Off you go. Small screen, it's 15k to the 4 m cubed 5k m squared. Right, so you've got 15k to the 4 m cubed over 5k m squared. And you might just like to think of it, okay, there's the numbers that go together, there's the k's that go together, there's the m's that go together. You can only cancel when you've got everything times everything on the top or the bottom. And everything's timesing, so therefore we can cancel anything we want. The 5 can go into 15 3 times. K to the 4 divided by k will just leave you k to the 3. M squared, m cubed divided by m squared, you take away the indices, so that will just leave you m to the 1. So we've got 3k cubed m to the 1, which is best written as 3k cubed m, or 3mk cubed, either doesn't matter. Here we go. This one's a little bit more interesting. Just do this first part, 14a, and then we'll look at... Just do 14a to start off with. I'll give you 3 minutes to have a go at that, because this is quite a tricky question. This is grade 8, grade 9 type of question. Even though it's only question 14, it's at least grade 8. Okay, so we're given that a is 3 to the x and b is 3 to the y. So we've got to try and turn these into a's and b's. Now you've got 3 to x, and we know that a equals 3x. These are very similar already, so we've got to try and find a way of writing this so as it looks like 3 to the x. Now what you need to know is, if you've got 3 to the a b, then that's equal to 3 to the AB. Also, 3 to the B to the A is equal to 3 to the A. Okay, it doesn't matter which way around you put these powers. B times A is the same as A times B. So we times the indices. So you can think of this as 3 to the x to the 2. And now we've got that, so as it looks exactly like A, because A is 3 to the x. So essentially what we have is A squared. So 3 to the 2x is equal to 3 to the x 2, which is equal to A squared. Now we've already got 3 to the x, so we've got 3 to the x plus 4, 4y, that's meant to be a power. So we've got 3 to the x times by, because you're adding the indices, times the two results, times by 3 to the 4y. And then we can do the same thing to get the 3 to the y that we did up here. So it's equal to 3 to the times 3 to the y to the power of 4. We know that 3 to the x is equal to a. We know that 3 to the y is equal to b. So we get a times b, and then that's to the power 4. Now you've got 3 to the y minus 1. So that's the same as 3y divided by 3. Divided by 3 to the 1. Okay, when you take away, you divide the indices. That's just a over 3 to the 1, which is just a over 3. So those are final. A squared, ab to the and a 3. Okay, right. Now have a go at these questions. Now you can use your calculator to help you to get by it, or you can try and see if you can. I'm going to give you just 2 minutes to have a go at. Right, so basically what we need to do is we need to think about everything's in terms of powers of 3. So AB is 3 to the x times 3 to the y equals 2187. We've got to think of that as a power 3. Now that's going to be quite tricky. I think you do need to use your calculator. You probably need to use a calculator to do this. Let's just here. 2 different powers of 3. So you do 3 times 3 equals, pound cubed, times 3 equals 4, times 3 equals 5, times 6, times 3 gives me 7. So it's 3 to the 7. So we know that 3 and 3 to the y equals 7. Sorry. 7. And so therefore, if 3 to x times 3 to the y is 3 to 7, then we know that x plus y equals 7. Let's just keep carrying on with our powers. Let's grab my calculator again. So we got 3 to 7 times 3 to the 8 times 3 gives me 3 to the 9 times 3 gives me 3 to the 10 times 3 gives me 3 to the 11. And so therefore, a squared b equals 3 to the 11. So a squared, I think we did a squared b already, haven't we? But anyway, a squared b is 3 to the x squared times by 3 to the y, and that equals 3 to the 11. That's 3 to the 2x times 3 to the y equals 11. Therefore, 2x plus y equals 11. So we now have these simultaneous equations. So if we take the top one away from the bottom one, we can see that x equals 4. X away from 2x is 1x. Y away from y is nothing. 7 away from 11 is 4. And we know that 4 plus 3 is 7, so therefore y equals 3. Now, if you can do this question in the way I've done it, you can pretty much do any indice question. I won't go through these questions. Okay, again, same thing again. If you go to my notebook, which I'll give you a link in the end of this video, you can go and have a look at those questions. And what we're going to do is we're going to do a little bit of surds before we finish off. So this is for all you grade 8s, grade 9s. Surds will definitely come up in the next paper. And is possibly the easiest topic to notice. It comes up in questions 17, 18, 21, 16. So it's always in the last 5 or 6 questions, which is essentially 8/9. So it's the easiest 8/9 question, I think, to get sorted. So we want to show this can be expressed in the form of root A. I'm just going to give you 1 minute, because if you're a grade 8, grade 9 student, you should be able to do that in 1 minute. If you can't, don't worry, have a go, see how far you can get, watch the video, then have another go at it tomorrow. Okay, so the trick to these is to try and get these the root 20 and the root 80 down to the prime factors as much as possible. So let's just prime factorize those quickly. So we get 2, 10, 2, 5. And we've got 80. And if you can spot the square numbers that goes into it straight away, then you don't need to do this prime factorization method. This is just for those of you that struggle to find the square numbers that go into it. And a little phrase I coined is, everywhere you have a pair, you have a square. There's a pair there, and I'm just going to change this one's color. So, oops, change its color. Another pair occurring. So these are all square numbers that go into these things. Oops, and I wrote the wrong number here. Josie, 2 times. Check, I did do that fast. 2 into 84, 20, 2 into 20, 10, 2 into 10, 5. So what we have, okay, we have on the top, we have root 20 is equal to the same as 2 times 2, 5. And you can see we've got this square number here, which just comes out to leave us, if you square root 4, you get 2. So we can just write that as 2 root 5. Similarly here, you've got square root of 4 and square root of another 4, so it's just going to get equal 2 times 2 times the square root of 5. So we've got 2 root 5 plus 4 root 5 over square root of 3. So what we got is we've got 6 root 5 over the square root of 3. So we've got that as simple as we can. Nothing cancelled. So that didn't really finish off the question. So we need to get rid it in the form of root a. So it means we need to get rid of the square root on the bottom. So what we do is we do times both the top and the bottom by the square root of the bottom. And that will get rid of the square root on the bottom. That will leave you 6 root 5 times 3 is 15 over root 3 times root 3 is 3. And we can see that 6 cancel with 3 to leave us 15. And that's our final answer. Okay, so there's other ways to do it. That's not the only way to do it, it's just one way. You know, simplify the top, see if anything cancelled. Well, it didn't cancel, so therefore we times out by the bottom to make sure we got rid of the square root on the bottom to leave us just one square root here. Okay. Right, next question. Another one. This shouldn't take too long if you know what you're doing. I'm just going to give you 1 minute to tap. If you can't do it, don't worry. It just means you ought to practice it again tomorrow. Right, here we go. So in our previous question, really look at it, we had to rationalize a denominator here. This is what we were doing. We're getting rid of the square root in the bottom. That's called rationalizing denominator. Now, if there's nothing, if it's just one square root, there's not a 1 plus root 3, or it's just a root 3. You can just times top and bottom by root 3. But down here, it's going to be a bit trickier. We haven't just got square root of 8, we've got minus 2. So we have to times the top and bottom of this one by square root of 8 plus 2. Okay. If you just remember, and there's reasons why to do it, and it's not for this video. I've put it in my booster videos and other videos and certs on why we do this. I'm just going to show you what you do. But if you just remember, always change the sign in the middle, then you won't go wrong. So if there's a plus there, put a minus here, and if there's a minus here, put a plus there. And then it always works, because it gets rid of all the square roots on the bottom. Okay, so it all depends on the bottom. Whatever you have on the bottom, change the sign in the middle. So we're going to times this out. So you've got root 8 times root 8, which is 8. You've got root 8 times 2, which is 2 root 8. On the bottom, if you're not familiar with what the result is, then I suggest you FOIL it. Yes, you do. First two things times together gives you 8. Outer two things times together gives you a plus 2 root 8. Inner two things minus 2 root 8. Last two things minus 2 times 2 is minus 4. And what you notice is these two will cancel. And you're just left with 8 minus 4, which is 4. And we can cancel this down. Yep, so I'm just looking at the question. I see where it's going. Because it just says n as an integer. So we need to make sure everything's got n as an integer. So 8 divided by 4 is 2. 2 divided by 4 is a half. Now we still haven't quite got n plus root n. Well, the trick comes in with the root 8. Now root 8 is equal to the square root of 2 times 2 times 2. And there we go. We've got that pair that's a square that we can take out. So we get 2 root 2. So we've got effectively 2 plus a half times the 2 times the square root of 2. I've replaced the root 8 with 2 root 2. There we go. And therefore, if you get a half times 2, that's just 1. So I get 2 plus the square root of 2. And I've got it exactly how they want, n plus root n, where n is an integer. Now, basically, I'm not going to go through the rest of the questions because they're similar. Apart from this one's a bit of completing the square. This one's the same as my previous one that I just did, but it's got letters rather than numbers. The answers to all these obviously will be in the sheet. If you can do these two techniques, okay, you'll be able to do 90% of all SERDS questions. Just make sure you can get these two techniques and you'll be able to have a good go at any question like the ones on the sheet. And once if you can have a go at the ones on the sheet and look at the answers that I'll provide, it'll be fine. Okay, but that's all we're going to do for this session. Good luck with that. Remember, if you couldn't do a question first off without help or without looking at an answer, make sure you repeat it again the next day to make sure you commit effort memory. If you can't get it done the first time next day, then repeat every day until you can or get it right. Good luck.